Welcome. In this module, we explore the concept of scaling up well logs in petrol. Well logs provide high-resolution data about subsurface properties such as porosity and permeability, but these details are often too granular for use in reservoir simulations. Scaling up or upscaling involves converting this high-resolution data into a format compatible with the larger grid cells used in 3D reservoir models. The goal is to preserve key information while making it manageable for simulation purposes. Upscaling well logs is a process that assigns a single representative value to each grid cell in a 3D model based on well log data. Since each cell can only hold one value, we average or summarize the detailed data from the well logs. This allows us to fill the entire 3D grid with meaningful property values that are derived from the well logs, providing input for further property modeling. When upscaling, it's important to consider whether the data is continuous, like porosity, or discrete, like facies. For continuous data, we choose an averaging method such as arithmetic or geometric mean based on the property we're modeling. For discrete data, such as lithology, methods like most of are used to assign the most frequently occurring value to each cell. The choice of method depends on the nature of the data and the grid resolution. When scaling up discrete data, the most of method is commonly used. This approach assigns the most frequent value in a cell to that cell. For example, if a cell contains 51% shale and 49% sand, the cell will be classified as shale. Weighting can be applied if certain facies are underrepresented, ensuring that we correctly model facies that may be crucial for reservoir characterization. For continuous data like porosity and permeability, different averaging methods are used. The arithmetic mean is typically best for porosity, while geometric or harmonic means are better suited for permeability. Each method yields different results depending on the data's distribution, so selecting the appropriate averaging method is critical for accurate modeling. For continuous data like porosity and permeability, different averaging methods are used. The arithmetic mean is typically best for porosity, while geometric or harmonic means are better suited for permeability. Each method yields different results depending on the data's distribution, so selecting the appropriate averaging method is critical for accurate modeling. When upscaling continuous logs, like porosity or water saturation, it's essential to preserve key volumetric properties. Weighting allows us to adjust the averaging process using auxiliary logs, ensuring that important values like pore volume are maintained during upscaling. For example, when upscaling porosity, we can use a continuous net to gross energy log to preserve the pore volume, making the upscale result more accurate. Arithmetic mean for porosity, water saturation SW, and net to gross NTG. The arithmetic mean is commonly used to upscale properties like porosity, water saturation, and NEG because these are additive variables. However, for water saturation, the arithmetic mean can sometimes be too optimistic, skewing the results. To address this, alternative methods like the median or midpoint pick may provide a better match to the original distribution of values. Water saturation SW often has a skewed distribution, and using arithmetic upscaling can result in overly optimistic values for SW, which in turn can be too pessimistic for oil in place. Using median or midpoint pick methods follows the data distribution more accurately, leading to a better reflection of the subsurface conditions in your model. Permeability controls how fluids move through the reservoir. While the arithmetic mean is useful for homogeneous layers with horizontal flow, it can lead to overly optimistic results when modeling permeability. For most cases, a more nuanced averaging method, like the harmonic mean, is better for capturing vertical permeability in layered reservoirs. The harmonic mean is the preferred method when modeling permeability in cases of dominant vertical flow, especially in layered reservoirs. This method is sensitive to lower values and works well for reservoirs where vertical permeability is key to understanding fluid flow, providing a more accurate representation of permeability in these situations. The harmonic mean is the preferred method when modeling permeability in cases of dominant vertical flow, especially in layered reservoirs. This method is sensitive to lower values and works well for reservoirs where vertical permeability is key to understanding fluid flow, providing a more accurate representation of permeability in these situations. In complex reservoirs, zone-specific upscaling allows you to apply different averaging methods to different zones. For example, you might use the harmonic mean for vertical sections of the well and the geometric mean for horizontal sections. This tailored approach enhances the accuracy of the model by accounting for the unique characteristics of each zone within the reservoir. When upscaling well logs, the grid cell size and the type of well, vertical, deviated, or horizontal, play a critical role. For vertical wells, layering is essential to capture vertical variation, while for deviated or horizontal wells, the IJ horizontal cell size determines the resolution. Adjusting the grid to reflect these factors ensures that important subsurface features are properly represented in the model. This slide explains how to upscale well logs in relation to well type and spacing in a 3D grid in Petrel. It highlights 3 methods for selecting how the well data is sampled and averaged into grid cells. Simple method assigns values to all cells penetrated by the well, even if only a small part of the well touches a cell. Through cell method, assigns values only to cells where the well crosses 2 opposite walls, ensuring more accurate representation of the well's influence. Neighbor cell method includes neighboring cells in the same layer, providing smoother transitions between cells and avoiding sharp barriers. Choosing the right method depends on the well type and the level of detail needed in the reservoir model. His slide, titled Filter by Well Save Search, explains how to use save searches to filter wells during the upscaling process in Petrel. Save searches. Users can create and apply save searches to select specific wells based on criteria, such as boundaries or well log data, e.g. porosity logs, before performing upscaling. Upscaling wells. The search criteria allow users to focus only on wells that meet certain conditions, ensuring that only relevant data is used during the upscaling process. Search criteria. In the settings, you can define filters, e.g., upscale boundary and well log data, to control which wells to include, streamlining the data selection process. This feature helps manage large datasets, improving accuracy and efficiency by focusing on the most relevant wells for your reservoir modeling. This slide explains the quality control (QC) process for upscaled well logs in Petrel, focusing on the option to show results in the well section. By visualizing the upscaled logs alongside the original well data, users can immediately compare them to ensure important geological features, like flow units or barriers, are preserved. You can choose to either create a new property based on the upscaled logs or edit an existing property, with options to overwrite all cells or replace only certain ones. This QC step is crucial for validating that the upscaled data accurately reflects the reservoir's properties before moving forward with modeling or simulation, ensuring that no significant subsurface details are lost in the process. This slide shows how to apply filters for quality control on upscaled logs in Petrel. You can use filters to focus on specific properties like facies, porosity, or reservoir segments, helping to isolate important details. The value filter lets you select facies such as shale, channel, or levee, ensuring that the upscaled data accurately reflects these properties. You can also filter by specific zones or segments in the well, narrowing the analysis to critical areas. This helps validate the upscaled logs and ensures that key reservoir characteristics are properly represented in the model. This slide, titled Upscale Logs Quality Control Histogram and Filter, Applied Result, focuses on quality control using histograms and filters to validate the upscaled logs in Petrel. Filters. Users can apply filters to focus on specific facies, such as shale, channel, levee, or lobe, ensuring that the upscaled data accurately reflects the distribution of these features in the reservoir. The filter settings allow you to adjust which facies are included in the analysis, refining the results. Histogram visualization. The histogram on the right shows a comparison between the upscaled cell's green bars and the original well log's red bars. This provides a visual check to ensure that the upscaled data retains the characteristics of the original logs, helping to validate the accuracy of the upscaling process. By using these tools, you can ensure that the upscaled logs are well aligned with the original data and properly represent key reservoir properties before moving forward with modeling or simulation. This slide focuses on quality control for upscaled logs using histograms and filters in Petrel. It shows how you can filter specific facies, like shale or sand, and compare the original well log data with the upscaled results. Histogram comparison. The histogram compares the percentages of facies from the upscaled model green bars with the original well logs red bars. This allows you to visually confirm if the upscaling process has accurately preserved the distribution of facies. Well section visualization. On the right, the upscaled facies are displayed in a well section view, showing how the facies are distributed over a 40-meter depth. This helps ensure that important geological features, such as facies boundaries, are correctly represented in the upscaled model. By applying these quality control methods, you can validate the accuracy of the upscaled data before proceeding with further modeling or simulation tasks. This slide explains Simpson's paradox in the context of upscaling. It shows that although the beach facies has a higher porosity than the shoal facies in both formation A and B, the overall average suggests that shoal has a higher porosity, 9.41%, than beach, 9.13%. This occurs because of differences in sample sizes and distributions, leading to contradictory results when aggregated. The key takeaway is the importance of proper upscaling. If you don't carefully account for stratigraphic zoning and sampling ratios, upscaling can distort results. This highlights the need for precision in upscaling to avoid misinterpretations in reservoir modeling. This slide highlights the change of support problem when upscaling data to larger grid cells. It compares two averaging methods. Most of method selects the most common facies within a cell, simplifying the data but potentially losing variability. Midpoint pick method averages the midpoint value, better capturing variability, especially for continuous data. The choice of method impacts how well the upscaled model reflects the original data. Selecting the right method ensures accurate representation of the reservoir properties. His slide addresses the change of support problem related to layering during upscaling. It shows the impact of grid cell thickness on how data is represented. Original data. The well log data was originally sampled at 0.25-foot intervals. Upscaling with 2-foot cells. When using smaller, 2-feet-thick grid cells, the upscaled data retains more detail, preserving the variability of the original layers as shown in the histogram. Upscaling with 8-foot cells. Using thicker 8-foot grid cells, the data becomes more averaged and simplified, losing some of the finer details from the original well log data. The key takeaway is that grid cell thickness directly impacts how much detail from the original data is retained in the upscaled model. Thinner cells capture more detail, while thicker cells may oversimplify important reservoir characteristics. Choosing the right grid cell size is crucial for accurate reservoir modeling. This image shows a comparison between upscaled data and original well log data using histograms and 3D visualizations for quality control. Variance comparison. The table at the top shows the variance values for the upscaled data, yellow bars, versus the original well logs, red bars. The variance decreases in the upscaled data compared to the well logs, indicating a loss of variability as the data is averaged during the upscaling process. Histograms. Each histogram demonstrates the distribution of porosity from the upscaled data, yellow, and the original well logs, red. The well logs have more detailed variability, while the upscaled data shows a smoother distribution, indicating simplification. 3D visualization. The 3D models illustrate how the porosity is represented in the well sections after upscaling. As grid cell thickness increases, the model becomes less detailed. This visualization emphasizes the trade-off between detail and manageability in upscaling, showing how variance and detail from well logs decrease in the final upscaled model. In conclusion, you are now fully equipped to handle the process of scaling up discrete logs, specifically focusing on facies, as well as scaling up continuous logs such as porosity, water saturation, and permeability. These essential skills will enhance your ability to create accurate reservoir models and improve decision-making in your projects. Thank you for your attention, and it's been a pleasure guiding you through this session. This is Jose Oderman, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.